You stopped wanting things. Not because you got what you wanted. Because you learned that wanting was the most dangerous thing you could do. Someone offers you something, help, kindness, a good thing, and something in you deflects it before you even decide to. Someone asks what you want, and you say whatever you want, not because you don't have a preference. Because having one felt like too much of a risk. You have been in moments that were genuinely good, and felt yourself waiting for them to end. As if wanting them to last would somehow make them disappear faster. This is not humility. This is not being easy to please. Something specific killed your wanting. And it killed it so quietly you called it growing up. If you have spent your whole life telling yourself you are not a needy person, that you do not require much, that you are fine with whatever, this channel exists for exactly that sentence. Because that sentence is not your personality. It is the scar tissue over something that used to be there. Across these videos we have been tracing one wound, the gap between who you actually are and who you learned you had to be to survive the house you grew up in. Today we go to the moment your wanting went quiet. And why your nervous system decided, correctly, given what it was working with, that needing things was a problem it could not afford to keep having. On the outside, you are remarkably self-sufficient. You do not ask for help easily. You handle things. You find a way. People who know you would say you are independent, possibly the most independent person they have ever met. And there is a version of you that is proud of that. And there is another version, quieter, older, more tired, that knows something different. That the independence was not chosen. It was constructed. Built out of the repeated experience of needing something and learning, gradually, that the needing was the problem. Not the thing you needed. The needing itself. You have probably been in a moment, sick, overwhelmed, genuinely struggling, where someone offered help. And you said you were fine? Not because you were fine. Because accepting felt like something you no longer knew how to do. And you have probably spent time in relationships where someone loved you and wanted to give to you, and you found yourself unable to receive it. Not ungrateful. Just unable. Like there was a wall you could not find the door in. That wall is not a character flaw. That wall was built for a reason. Think about how long you have been carrying the weight of being fine, of not needing, of handling it. How many times you said yes when you meant no? How many times you swallowed something that needed to be said? How many times you looked at what someone was offering you, genuinely offering, with no strings, and felt something in you go very still and very careful? Not because you did not want it. Because wanting it felt like the beginning of something you could not afford to finish. And I want to show you exactly when the first brick was laid. Because you were there. You were the one laying it. You just did not know yet that was what you were building. And I want to show you exactly when the first brick was laid. Because you were there. You were the one laying it. You just did not know yet that was what you were building. Here is the moment. You needed something. Something real. Something a child legitimately needs. Comfort, attention, to be heard, to be held, to have someone sit with you inside the feeling you were having. And you reached for it. The way children reach, completely. Without strategy, without backup plan. Just, I need this. Here is me, needing it. And one of two things happened. Either the need was met with something that felt like too much burden, too much inconvenience, too much for the person on the other side to hold. You felt the weight of your own needing reflected back at you. Or it was not met at all. Not rejected. Not refused. Simply, not registered. The need went out and nothing came back. Not even a no. And your nervous system, which was tracking everything, which had been calibrating constantly, made a calculation. Not a conscious one. Not a decision you made. A survival calculation. Automatic. Efficient. Precise. Needing costs more than it returns. And the most intelligent thing this system could do, to protect you from that cost, was begin, very quietly, to want less. First the big things. Then the medium things. Then, eventually, the small things too. Until one day you woke up and did not know what you wanted for dinner, and called it not being fussy. That is clue 1. Fast forward. You are older now. The wanting is mostly gone, or at least, it has gone somewhere you cannot easily access. You have become the person who genuinely does not mind, who is easy to make plans with because you have no strong preferences, who lets other people choose the restaurant, the plan, the direction, not out of passivity, but because somewhere along the way your preferences stopped feeling like yours to have. You became the person who is grateful for small things, who does not expect much, who is, and people say this like it is a compliment, so easy to please. What they do not see is what it cost to get here, and the cost was not dramatic. It did not happen in one moment you can point to. It happened in the Tuesday mornings, in the ordinary conversations where you had a real answer and gave a safe one, in the birthdays where someone asked what you wanted and you said you did not mind, and meant it, because by then you genuinely did not know. The wanting did not leave in one go. It left the way light leaves a room at the end of the day. So gradually you do not notice until suddenly, it is dark. You stopped wanting things in relationships. Not love, you want connection. But the specific wanting, to be pursued, to be chosen, to have someone show up for you without being asked, that wanting learned to stay very quiet. Because the few times it spoke, something in the room shifted. And you learned the shift was something to avoid. You stopped wanting things professionally. The promotion, the recognition, the thing you actually wanted to make, these wants exist, but they live behind glass. You can see them but you cannot quite reach them. And when you try, something pulls you back. Think about something you want right now. Not something you think you should want. Something you actually want. And notice what happens in the few seconds after that want surfaces. For most people watching this, something intervenes. A reason it is too much. A reminder that you probably will not get it anyway. A quiet voice that says, do not. That voice is not wisdom. That voice is a system that learned, a very long time ago, that wanting was something you could not afford. The problem is, it is still making that calculation right now. That is clue 2. Here is the part nobody talks about. There is a specific kind of grief that comes with this, and it is different from other grief. It is the grief of not knowing what you lost. Because when wanting dies quietly, there is no moment you can point to, no day you can name, no clear before and after. Just a gradual dimming, so slow you adjusted to it in real time, the way eyes adjust to a room getting darker, until you no longer remember what the light looked like. What neuroscience tells us, specifically research on the developing brain under chronic emotional stress, is that this is not metaphor. The suppression of wanting, repeated consistently across childhood, actually alters the brain's reward circuitry. The neural pathways that connect desire to motivation to action, they weaken when wanting is consistently met with pain or absence. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk's research on how trauma reorganizes the brain describes this precisely. The body, the nervous system, learns to disconnect from its own signals when those signals have historically led to hurt. You are not unmotivated. You are not lacking ambition. You are not broken. Your wanting learned that the safest place to live was silence. Think about the last time you wanted something and immediately minimized it. Told yourself it was not that important. Talked yourself out of it before you even tried. That minimization, that automatic reduction, that is not you being realistic. That is the system doing what it was built to do, still protecting you from a threat that no longer exists. Always. That is clue 3. 3 clues. 1 origin. And it has been running since before you had any language for what it was costing you. You were not born without desire. You were not born without ambition. You were not born without the capacity to want things fully and reach for them completely. You were born with a nervous system that was extraordinarily alive, responsive, hungry, reaching, and that system, in the repeated experience of reaching and finding either pain or nothing, did the most intelligent thing available to it. It learned to stop before it could be disappointed. What you are living with is called childhood emotional neglect. Not abuse. Not visible damage. Something quieter. The consistent experience, across hundreds of ordinary moments, of reaching emotionally and finding the hand was not there. Not because you were not worth reaching for, but because the person on the other side did not know how to extend it. And a nervous system that reaches into nothing, enough times, eventually learns a simpler strategy. Do not reach. That is what built the silence where your wanting used to be. That is what has been keeping it quiet. Now, here is what changes when you know this. The quiet is not permanent. It feels permanent. It has been there so long it feels like the truth of you. But it is not the truth of you. It is what the truth of you learned to do when the truth of you was not safe to be. That distinction, between who you are and what you learned, is the only distinction that matters right now. Because if the wanting went quiet through learning, it can come back through unlearning. Not all at once. Not dramatically. Not in a way you can force. But in the same way it left, quietly, gradually, one small moment at a time. Tonight, the next time you notice a want surface and feel the automatic pull to dismiss it, try something different. Do not act on it. Do not chase it. Just let it exist for 5 more seconds than you normally would. That is all. 5 seconds of not immediately telling yourself it does not matter. 5 seconds of letting the wanting be there. That 5 seconds is not nothing. That is the nervous system learning, for the first time in a very long time, that wanting is something it is allowed to do. Notice it has a name. Notice it was never yours to lose. It went quiet because quiet was the only option available to it at the time. But you are not that child anymore. The environment that made wanting dangerous, that environment is not the one you are standing in right now. Your nervous system does not know that yet. It is still running the old calculation, still protecting you from a threat that left years ago. But you are starting to know it. And that fraction of knowing is enough to begin. The next video goes somewhere most people are not ready to go. Because understanding that your wanting went quiet, and understanding what you did with the silence, are 2 different things. The silence did not stay empty. You filled it. With productivity. With helping. With being useful, and capable, and needed, in all the ways that did not require you to want anything for yourself. You built a whole life inside the silence. And it looks, from the outside, remarkably full. The next video is about what it feels like from the inside. And why, no matter how full the life gets, the silence is still there. Underneath everything. Waiting.